Okay, awesome. So on today's video, we have probably one of our best clients. This is the first person that believed in us as an agency, Lara Stalbom. She's the founder of a really, really good, real big company based in the UK. They are in the niche of UGC content creation. And yeah, Lara, please. Well, we started working together, at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and it's been such a long journey for both. I think, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. There were a lot of, ups and downs, I would say, through the whole project. And yeah, I think it wasn't. I think it wasn't easy for both of us, right? Because definitely,
I mean, we
it
made
was a
it.
lot of work.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's true.
Um,
I think the main thing was probably time, but I mean, the outcome was great. It's more about the time
awesome.
estimate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we were building the project at the same time. We were bringing the right people into the team. Alder has done a fantastic job bringing the right engineers into the team with the with I guess with the right, more than the experience, with the right um, I guess personality. So we are all a good fit in the team, and I think we have done as well the same with you guys. We make such a good fit, I guess. Not only you, the owner, the founder of the product, but as well, your coworkers. uh, I think we have been a fantastic fit through the whole process. um, so I
Mm.
want to start this interview with the first question is, what was your experience, before Webflow with Xano? Why did you reach out to us at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the product at the very start, so it was more than fragile, I would say. I think when I reached out, it was almost too late, um, because we've built TWIRL on a low-code solution. I mean, it is still low-code, at the same time, it's not anymore. So our previous solution was Webflow, but then with solutions like MemberStack. I can't really remember the stack in detail anymore. I think it was Webflow, MemberStack. We had Airtable for the
Um,
operations team to monitor projects. So it was basically, and then we had something else, WhaleSync, and then all this combined made our platform. And I think that was the start. And then when we started 12, I think it was around late 2022 when I set everything up. It was me initially in the product role, where I was trying to figure it out and make this somehow streamlined and more like a platform. Um, but yeah, over the coming months and years, everything broke left and right. I think because we were growing as a company, we had more and more creators joining the platform. We had more and more brands joining the platform. And I knew its limitations. I knew, for example, that the Webflow CMS had a limitation of 10,000 records. Airtable had its limitation. I think at some point we had to delete items from the database on a weekly basis. We deleted hundreds of records on a weekly basis just because we maxed out our limits, and that was our daily task. Looking up, okay, we fit our record a limit again, and then deleting. And I think, but when I reached out, that was already the case. So I think it was more about time that we then go ahead and then find a scalable solutions, because it wouldn't get less over time. We had so many creators joining, we had so many brands joining, we had so many projects created every day. So I think when I reached out, we needed something that could scale unlimited in terms of creators, type of project. So and that was in January 2024. So yeah, this year in January. I think that's when we got in touch first. And I felt like I had a solution already in mind, what I wanted to have, but I think it turned out to be wrong. I think I had roughly an idea what we wanted to do, but then it was good that you stepped in and said like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I think we had a solution in place very quickly. It was more about the execution. But yeah, that was the status quo. All these kind of low codes, everything that existed was in place. We had Zapier. I think we had 70K zaps per month, just going back and forth. It was
you
expensive
also
on
you
top.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
remember that. You also use
yeah,
AppLooker and also, if I'm not
true.
wrong, job
Yeah.
form for the payments through Stripe, right?
Yes, yeah, short form. I think it was crazy actually how many tools we were using. I mean, we were still using some, but it's much more streamlined now. I think at some point we were managing 8 or 9 tools at the same time. They were all in sync, and if one of those broke, everything else was affected too. So it was very, very fragile, and I think I was the only one who could actually step in, which is dangerous. Yeah,
No, but I think we were surprised whenever we look into the project. We were surprised, how big of of a system you had created with the tools that you had in place.
yeah,
We were admired. Like it was a lot of work done. Like there was a lot of work done behind the setup that you guys had at that time. Obviously, there
mm,
were some limitations, important limitations, where you guys needed to like, and we were surprised as well, how you guys were living with those current limitations while you were still working the project. And yeah, I
yeah.
remember, we had, you were because you were scared to leave our table. Like we haven't left our table completely, because I know we're still using that for some flows, because I think it's really nice for reports, and the UI is really simple to use.
Mm,
But I do remember this point in the project where you were really scared of, for the internal
yeah.
team to leave Airtable and move to retool and another completely tool where it's way more technical, I would say, right? And it's hard to make
Mm.
changes. Um,
Yeah, I think it was also because I gave it out of my hands and I was the only one who could fix it. And I was worried that I couldn't fix things anymore if we moved to a different stack. But we just had to. There was no solution anymore. It's frightening that we had this kind of setup, but at the same time, it's crazy how far you can build a company with that kind of setup. And at the end of the day, as long as people pay for what you're building, it's all good, but obviously at some point you have to fix what you've created. The mess you've created, you need to clean it up at some point. Yeah.
yeah, I get,
Mm,
I guess, at the end of the day, what we discovered through the whole project is, you guys are not only, a SaaS company. You don't sell a software as a service. You guys are a company that takes care of each client individually to make sure that they get a uh, really nice content for
mm,
their marketing campaigns. So it's a really personalized service, and obviously you have this platform that supports all of that service you guys provide. um,
yeah. I think that was maybe something that you and me that we probably underestimated how much of a service component TWIRL actually provides. It's not a simple SaaS platform to manage your campaigns, self-serve, and that's it. I think there was so much of a service component that we had to have an internal web app, which was Airtable initially. And then we figured out, oh, okay, now we've built the UGC platform, but now on top, we need to build an internal web app to manage all these projects. And I think this came up later in the process. We were like, oh shit, we actually have to create something on top of, and we have to create 2 apps. I think this was
yes.
obvious later on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess the yeah, I guess at the end of the project we pretty much, yeah, created kind of three apps. The ones for creators, the one for brands, and the one for the internal
Mm,
team. Definitely,
yeah.
this is important for other agencies that work in the web apps. It's real important, the first discovery calls for with the client. Even if a client already has an idea of that what they want to build, it's important that there's a group meeting, with maybe multiple meetings where we, more than work directly on first what are we going to build, is why are we going to build it, what is the reason, the purpose. And this is something that happened to us. Like we realized, okay, we need to build a whole other app in retool for the internal services, because there's no way that we will be handling this directly from Xano, the database. So yeah, definitely there was more work than we estimated, but I think things turned out pretty well. I think, um, I'm real grateful with the work that Aldair did behind the project. It was bringing the right people to the team. If it wasn't for Joshua and Jose, they helped us migrating all of the data from Airtable to Xano, and that was a lot of work because we needed to pretty much, we restructured the database. So it wasn't just moving tables, it was moving, restructuring the data through, this was custom code, but restructuring the data and then pushing the data back to Xano. So I'm glad that we brought the right people. We got them into the project at the right time, and we built. I think, we have definitely pushed bug fixes, updates through the whole. But I think so far, the company is doing better than ever, right? Like, I think there's now room for
Yeah.
improvements. And
Yeah, I think there's two things to it. Obviously, brands and creators are much happier. They don't have to reach out. I mean, they reached out on a daily basis because there were bugs. They couldn't see certain things, which is crazy actually that they still stick. Um, but we also have much more breathing room in terms of operations. We can ship so many more projects now. If I look into the data, we actually check because we have this massive reporting how many projects we serve per month. I think in August we had around 150 campaigns live in the same month, and now it's around 320. So we more than doubled our campaigns, and it's still only two people managing. So that's a massive plus. I think it's not only the customer experience, it's also the internal processes that we streamlined, which is almost more important because we can take care. We can spend so much more time on a customer because we don't have to deal with all these unnecessary bugs and issues we had, but then actually take care of what actually matters to the brands, which is two things. So a massive win on all fronts.
that's you
Yeah,
know that's awesome. It's what this is something that we, at the beginning of the year, we were talking about there, that we could do this for free. The fact of just building businesses and helping other people, creating these platforms, is just so rewarding. Like, yeah, like, it's good that we charge for
yeah.
it, but this is something that we could probably do for free.
Yeah, no, no,
that's
it's
that's awesome.
great. I feel like the team could step out, especially me. I could step out of product. I think I was caught up in this product role as a CEO for such a long time that I now had the time to step back and actually take care of customer acquisition. I could take care of customer retention, average order volumes, increasing everything. So I could optimize on so many more fronts because the product was in great hands. I could take care of everything else. Same for the ops team. They could take care of the client's needs and not the client's bugs.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
something that we have seen, while we were building the project with Altis, there's such a great clients that you guys have, right? Like, we were using this
Yeah.
app, Iralo,
Uh,
Airlo, Airlo.
error. Yeah, I'm not sure how you pronounce them yet, but yeah, I know. The SIM
Yeah,
card,
exactly.
right?
I think,
Is it the SIM card
well,
provider,
well,
or is it the?
well, it's a company that we were just using their service whenever we went to
Uh,
Argentina to have
okay, cool. Mm.
phone signal, and we saw that you
Yeah,
guys were
yeah.
doing.
Mm.
We also saw, like, Spotify. Like, it's crazy. Like, you guys, are working with
Big
huge
clients, yeah.
companies. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes through agencies, but yeah, sometimes directly with those brands. But yeah, it's amazing to see that they trust us. And it looks much more credible. That comes on top. The trustworthiness increased by 300% just because it doesn't look as sketchy as it did before.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm.
I think these companies don't care too much about, to have a super complex software. They care more about this person to person, relationship, where they can reach out to you guys and, have specific changes, if, um, with, to a UGC content, because I know you guys have as well internal editor that will make those edits for the creators, instead of, going directly to the creators, just so small things like, I guess, captions, etc., etc. But that's really cool that
Yeah.
you guys offer all of that for your clients.
Yeah.
Now, a second question that I have here is,
Mm.
how was your experience working with PRODULIS? What were the good things and the bad things? And, yeah, in general, how was your experience?
Mhm. Should I start with the good or the bad thing?
You can start with the good,
No,
yeah.
no, I was not generous. No, I think it's a very I mean, after all, a very, very positive experience. I think it's the best thing that could have happened to the company this year, that we've made this massive step to relaunch everything. I know it took some time, and it was a lot of effort. Maybe there was some confusion for the customers because we did make some changes to the platform way back. We launched a first version, then we launched a second version, and it was pretty much the third version. And we had customers that came to us right in the beginning, and they experienced all these changes with us. So I was a bit worried about a third change because it's always a change, like you know what I mean, like resetting the password, and now they have to access a new platform again. Hey, we're gonna switch over the weekend. That was one thing I was worried about, but I think we handled it very, very smoothly. I felt that you and I were pretty much part of the team for a long phase throughout the year. It never felt like an outsource. It always felt like you were part of the team for a very long time. You understood perfectly what we were doing. I didn't have to explain what UGC is, what we are doing, what creators do, what brands do. It was pretty much clear on the first, second call what we were doing. So I think there was no misalignment around what's the vision for this company. I felt like Ed also had his vision for how it should look like. What's the experience? He knew it better than me, which I was glad about. I think I sometimes can be very picky around design and how I want the user experience to be, both for brands and for creators, but knew it perfectly as well. So there was never really a time where I had to say like, okay, we need to revert this or something. He knew it already. So I was like, okay, well, I think they don't need me. So
Awesome.
that was the best experience, I would say. Very dedicated. I think the only challenge would probably be the time difference, but then at the same time, it also wasn't. I felt like it was good and bad at the same time. Obviously, there's always some hiccups when there's time difference. I also don't like it that much if the team is gone for a very long time because I feel like they could be disconnected if they're 10 hours behind or 5 hours behind. But w at the same time, it was also good because I remember we were launching during the night in the UK, which was pretty much the day for you guys. So that was great timing because we went to bed, which was a bit frightening because you were doing things while we were in bed. But when we woke up, everything was done, and so I think it was more of a um, feeling that if you needed us, then there would be no one responding. I think that was the only point where I was like, I wish we were in the same room and could build this thing almost like a boot camp. But I know for such a long time, if you work on a project for 8, 9 months, and it's not possible to be in the same room all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I have felt the same. Whenever you guys were, I guess reporting issues, for example, the first weeks, whenever we just launched, um,
Mm,
it was, I know it wasn't easy for us to wait like 3 4 hours until we just wake up, I guess, to get started at 9 a.m. So yeah, I do feel the same. I wish we will have the same time zone, but I guess so far it's not like we have like 12 hours of difference. It's just 6, and sometimes it's
exactly.
7.
Mm,
But I think we have been able to work with through that. And something
yeah.
that we have as well also experienced is you know you guys have been really great clients because you trust in us. You really gave us the opportunity to change things, even though you guys were really scared of this big change. You trust
Mm,
on what we were imagining here for the product. And I'm glad that things have turned out great. I know there's still a lot of room for improvements, but I think now the company has really good basis to keep scaling the same product instead of doing another version of it. And
mm,
yeah, that's
yeah.
that's the
I think
most important part for me.
yeah, totally. I think as a founder, I was too long into this product department. And I think it was time that I give it out of my hands and find people that know it way better than I do. And I know that you guys know it 10 times better as I would ever do. So I'm glad I found you guys because I can trust that you find the right solution, and I can just approve, say yes, let's do it. That's the best part. Yeah.
Thank you, Lera. We appreciate that. I feel like as well. The good thing is like lately, we have everyone from the team can take on the project, right? I think lately, like, we haven't been directly focused on the project. Mainly has been Joshua and Pilar, and they have been both going back and forward. So it's awesome as well, that the product can still, grow, while you are focusing on other
Exactly.
things. And as well, here in the agency, we have, anyone from the team that can take on the project and work on it. Now,
Yeah.
I guess we have, you have already said, the things that change for the company, after Webflow, Wized, and Xano. I
Mm.
think the fact that you guys can focus way more on the clients instead of working on, so much on, these issues that you guys were having before. The fact that you guys are able to handle way more projects than before. Um,
Mm.
that's just feels great. Now, there's another question that it's not related with the web app, but we want to ask you this because we were part of it. How the revamp of the marketing side affected TWIRL after, the revamp that we
Yeah.
did for the website.
Yeah. So I think in terms of numbers, mm, so in terms of numbers, I sometimes wonder because we changed the setup drastically after the platform launch. I think we took the opportunity to change how people or how new leads or interested people interact with Twirl. I think we changed is to be not self-serve anymore because we really want to get to know the brand or agency first before they sign up to the platform. Before we had the website relaunch, we allowed users or leads to create an account themselves and to get started without talking to us. But this is something we've stopped now. We would love to get them know they need to book a call, not because we want to upsell something, just because we want to get to know the brand or agency first to see if it's a good fit. So I think in terms of numbers, it changed the dynamic quite a lot, but it was a great opportunity because we had this website for 2 years almost. And with the website launch and with the platform launch, it was a great opportunity to refine the messaging. What's our USP? What does Twirl offer? Because I feel like throughout the years, we really nailed what we want to do, how we want to help brands, and what makes us better than the competition. I mean, you always find ways to frame how you're better than the competition, but we knew the entire team knew why we're better or what makes us better. I mean, obviously we have weaknesses, but we know exactly what we do better, which is the service aspect and the professionalism, the team, and the vetting process, the creator onboarding process. We knew we're doing this better. So I felt like this was the perfect timing to say, okay, now we're launching the platform. Now let's do the same with the website and really nail what we can do. Combined with the new platform, also aligning brand guidelines for coherent brand guidelines. So we don't have this beautiful platform and then this kind of old, playful, bit childish website. So I think combined with the platform relaunch, that was the perfect timing to then um, have more trust and more professionalism, to show more trustworthiness, to actually look like, hey, we have so many amazing brands on the platform. Let's showcase them on the website. Because we had very old logos. Those were clients from the first day that we onboarded, but now we had so many hundreds of more brands joining us. So I think it was about time that we showcase all the things that we've done in the last 2 years. We had so many great success cases, and we never really published them because we never had the time. So I was glad that we then made the time for it to showcase everything what we've built and use it to our advantage.
That's,
Mm.
that's awesome. That's great to hear. It's great to feel like you are way more, you feel way more confident, on the things that are currently set up,
Mm.
where, yeah, the fact that, what you said before, I just keep thinking about that, the fact that you can worry about other things, and, the fact that you feel way more confident on the website that you guys have right now, the web app, and the
Yeah,
things as well do not depend on you, right? You have this, probably, this stress all the time, to be like, oh my god, constantly deleting, files, worrying about the marketing side, web application, and now the fact that you just have relief all of this from your shoulders. I'm just happy
yeah,
for you that, that you trusted on us at the beginning. The fact that we can, that you can just, yeah, just be way more relaxed, I will say, and focus on other things. Yeah,
exactly.
out of
And
work.
with a cleaned up website, we can use it much quicker to create landing pages, for example, because the brand guidelines are just there. We don't need to reinvent the wheel with every page, or we just launched a resource center. It's just so much quicker because we can duplicate pages. We know exactly what branding we're using. We know what branding we're using on sales decks. So everything's just quicker and feels like, okay, we're doing the right thing because it's already in place. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was also important because yeah, I do remember you guys didn't have Stagger, right? Like it wasn't like a clear Figma file, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, everything was built on top of Webflow directly.
Which one? The
Like
platforms?
the platform and the marketing side, those were built directly on
Yeah, they were
Webflow.
directly in Webflow. Mm. Directly in Webflow. We
Yeah,
had no Figma design. Yeah, nothing. I mean, yeah, it was the same like in platform. It was scrappy, I would say. Like every startup, you do it once. You're like, okay, that's fine. You do it overnight. You get started with it because you just want to get going, and then you never find
exactly.
the time to clean it up. But as we matured, I think as the company matured and grew, then making time for those cleanups in between. I guess we will have another cleanup next year, let's say, where we say like, okay, now we have a month of buffer time where we also like, okay, now it's time for those not unnecessary things, but those things where you say like you always push them towards the end of your to-do list because you think it's never important. But then if you do it, you feel like it's kind of a relief to say like now you've done it, now everything's in place, now you can move on, be a bit scrappy for the next couple of months, and build up a mess again until you clean it up. So yeah, always
That's
those
right.
reset
I guess
moments. Mm.
I guess that's the startup mentality because at the beginning you just want the MVP to be live, and then
Mm.
the details can be fixed in the future. And I think it happens
Yeah,
to everyone, even to us. We just launched a quick website for the agency, and then now we have done a revamp. Now we are making the case studies, and taking care of all of these. That at the end of the day, it will definitely help to close leads easier, right? Because you have all of this content, of this work put in on top of this, and clients see that. Clients can see all the effort and the work that has been put into
yeah,
into the website or web app.
mm,
Whenever they purchase your services.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so now this is the last question. How do you see the company in the future for the next year? What are your expectations?
For the next year or the next years? For the next
Well, yeah,
year.
for year and years. Yeah, definitely both.
Yeah. So for I feel like we are at a very good point with the company now that we've established ourselves as one of the main players, UGC players in the UK. Um, that's the good thing. I think the entire year we've grown to such an extent that we can say, like, okay, I feel like people have heard about us now. Like every marketer in the UK, hopefully, should maybe subconsciously have heard about us. We've grown quite a bit. I remember there were times where we had to explain what UGC is, what we're doing. We're not influencer marketing. We do UGC production only. Whilst now we are at a place we don't have to need to explain it, but then actually can pull out all our USPs and benefits and say like, hey, this is what we are, and people then just say yes or no to our service, which is a great sign. And 35% of our clients come through referral, which has exploded over the last couple of months, which then again gives us good confidence that we're doing the right thing. And I think next year is going to be the case that we might look more into the US. We've done this before, a little bit testing our waters in the US. There's definitely more competition. There is more we need to do in terms of why we are better and what we can do better. But I feel like we're in a very good position that we can tackle a few more markets now, maybe looking more into European market outside the UK. And then other than that, really established ourselves as the thought leader around UGC in the next couple of years. I think we are just scraping the surface in terms of UGC. The ones we are working with, they are the the leading marketers and when it comes to e-commerce, when it comes to paid advertising, those people know what UGC is. But then there are these 95% of other marketers of other companies that haven't even looked into UGC. So I think now's the time to tapping into this network, because now we're just having the low hanging fruits. And then get people in that want UGC, and now it's about educating the 95% of other marketers out there. Hey, you really need UGC. And it's not about selling them to buy into UGC, but really providing the benefits. It's about getting the giving them access to creators. Hey, these are those kind of people that you would work with. This is how UGC can help. This is the landscape around paid advertising. Maybe it goes beyond UGC, but how could UGC become a major part in your overall content marketing strategy, or how can you implement it smartly? I think this is our next step, which will definitely take more time. But it's really fun to see how big the market actually is. I think it's a prejudice to say that's an e-commerce company that would come to us, or an e-commerce Shopify store with a physical product, which is definitely the case. But it's literally any consumer company. We do work with B2B companies. Any company that communicates through video will come or could come to us to produce content. And I think that's the goal, to go outside this D2C space. And then, I mean, you've probably seen some companies that we work with. It's software, it's marketplaces, it's any company really. Apps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely the niche is fantastic. What you have done is fantastic. The business has a lot of room for growth. Like, I
Mm.
think there's definitely a different approach that you can take on this. Like, obviously it's super important to have to be on, I guess, on the two biggest search engines on the planet, like Google and YouTube. So, programmatic SEO and different other things that you can apply, in order for other companies, as you said, to get into more into this new way. And this is even better than investing on marketing, campaigns. Like, it's way better to have an organic video, not a specific organic, but a paid UGC video, where you have a real person trying on your product, your service, whatever you sell. And just, I think there's huge success cases that you guys have, right? And it's crazy that some people are not applying that because they don't know about it, or it's.
Yeah, I think still the barrier to UGC is high for especially brands. Agencies know what they're doing and how important UGC is. That's why it's easier to sell into marketing agencies. We would love to tap more into consumer companies, consumer brands, to educate them what UGC does, or how it can help them, and how actually to um, apply UGC, or how to get started with UGC. And I think this is something we urgently need to look into in 2025 and beyond, to make it as easy as possible to get started with UGC, because brands come to us and they want UGC, they know it's good, but they don't know how to start. And I think this is in how we then can step in and make it as easy as possible, either through briefs that are already pre-created. You just have to press a button to get started on the platform. You already get matched with the ideal creator. You don't even need to think. I think the marketer, a typical digital marketer, has so many things on their plate. They are a media buyer, they're a creative strategist. They do everything at the same time. And then actually thinking about a very good brief for how to put your idea into an actual video that turns out to be great on paid social or organic is a lot of work. And I think this is what we need to take the work from their plate and say, like, okay, you just go ahead, you just press the button, already created a brief, this is the idea creator, and let's go. I think that's the goal.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, I'm on the same page with you there. Just to make it simpler for you companies or agencies just to request UGC content. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
that's definitely something that we can definitely focus on 2025, with the web app, because I think it's important, that first flow after they leave the landing page, to just request UGC content as easy as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
um
Mm.
Awesome, Lara. Thank you so much for doing this call. Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate all of your
No worries.
feedback. It's been such a reward working with you, with your whole team. Um, as we talk internally with Aldair, you guys have been fantastic from the beginning. So we really appreciate that, the trust that you guys gave us. As we were a new agency and we didn't have any, like we had some projects that we had worked before, but individually, not as an agency. And it's awesome to be able to use your case study, to share it to other companies.
Yeah, no worries. I know how hard it is to get into success cases. I mean, we have the same challenge, so I know it's great. It's been really a great experience. I mean, you're still part of the team. It was not really a one-off project. I mean, it was, but then there's limitless work, I would say. There's never a day that comes without a feature idea how we can improve. So we'll never stop, I guess.
Yeah, this is why we also recommend this niche for other Webflow agencies, right? For marketing sites, like you can have updates once a month, once every 2 months, 3 months. But I guess with the web app, this affects directly to your daily income. A web app, so many companies are directly related with how their web application is operating. So
Mm,
this is why we always suggest to Webflow agency. I know there's a learning curve, but this is why we always suggest to get into the web app niche, because it's not only one-time work, but it's also constant updates that clients always request, because is the reality is that they are affected directly with that. If something goes great with their web app, definitely their revenue increases. So
exactly.
uh,
Yeah, it's the
so
infrastructure. So if it doesn't exist, then the business doesn't exist.
that's right.
Yeah.
um, Awesome, Lara. Awesome. Okay,
Right.
I think that's pretty much it. I think, yeah, I will cut the recording right now.
Okay.